Michael Bernard Loggins is a developmentally disabled man who, at some point, to cope with his fears, started writing a list of every fear that he could imagine, which he then published in two little Xeroxed zines called Fears of Your Life. The first listed 138 fears, the second 45. Actor Tom Wright reads a few.
Fear of hospitals and needles. Fear of school and dentists. Fear of noises and bumps in the middle of the night. Fear of doors when they slams. Fear of toys that come on by itself without anyone touching it. Fear of being caught with another woman after cheating on your wife. Fear of being in wrong places at the wrong time. Fear of dropping your soda as it hit the ground and fizz on you. Fear of tall giraffe. Fear of some birds. Fear of being different. I fear that those TV people would take off my favorite cartoon, the Rugrats, off the air and wouldn't be able to watch them anymore for a long, long, long time. Please let Well Enough alone. Please don't take my Rugrats cartoon off the air because I love that cartoon. Let there be a possibility that life with the Rugrats stays put means leave my Rugrats cartoon on TV, Michael said. Fear if you put things that doesn't belongs in your ears and you bust the drums that's in your ears, it liable to run you deaf where you can't hear anything at all. You wouldn't be able to hear cars when they're coming at you. That can be a frightening and very horrible situation to happen to you if you had an occurrence in real life, especially if you comes involved in it. Can you get hit by cars if you can't hear them? Michael is afraid and frightening and fearful when Andrea Scher goes away for a very, very, very long vacational trips in order to go traveling all over the world, almost like different places and different cities and countries to visit people in her own image and own language. He afraid Andrea Scher would come back to San Francisco, California with all different accents and won't be able to speak Michael's English or not be able to understand his words that he's telling her, like Merry Christmas. I'm afraid and fearful that pigeons don't know right from wrong to not go out into the street. They don't have the kind of memory as we humans does to know what to do and what shall not do. They must don't know the danger of their lives are being jeopardized, and they must don't know what can definitely happen to them to humans' knowledges and sense. They land just anywhere they can find a land on surface. Fear of sharks, fear of giant man, fear of gorilla, fear of Godzilla, fear of tall woman, fear of killer whales, fear of dinosaurs bird, fear of invisible man, fear of blob. Fear that if I go into the library and I happens to get like 7 or 8 books and I happens to find a place in the library that I would get a lot of comfortable and begin reading in those 7 or 8 books, but one book at a time, and I start to read, and somehow my voice of mine start to get from low to high and thinking that there weren't anyone else's reading theirs, and I look over and the people in the library and I get fearful and I'll say, oops, sorry. If your friends are people that you are with and you hear them making decision about what they decided that they are going to steal expensive and very valuable merchandise out of the department stores and don't care less, you say, I am out of here. Bye-bye. I'm not getting caught in your crazy schemes. I'm not your stealer partner. I'm just your friend. It's going to trouble and it's on your head, not mine. I'm not going to participate in stealing with you. So leave me out of your crazy schemes, especially if it involves Oreo cookies and other stuff. Hot stuff. Fear of me getting in trouble just as well. Fear is like this. Someone like a woman that you grab a hold of her hand and going down the escalator when of a sudden you happens to be holding a stranger hand, not realizing that she isn't your mother, is scary. Fear of a blasted music on the radio when you are not aware that the volume is turned up. Fear of rolling downhill backward. Fear of foghorn, fear of getting hugged by somebody you don't like. There's Los Angeles fears. Fear of getting hit over the head when you carry lots of dough with you, or bucks. Fear that if you put too much of toilet paper in the toilet bowl, it will run over and get all over the floor and on you and on someone else too. It would leak from upstairs to the next floor below. I am afraid someday I'm liable to get lost inside Children's Hospital if I'm not all so familiar with that place yet. It's going to take some time to get used to it. Fearfully of that great, big, humongous children's hospital there ever would be to Michael's knowledge. Good that Michael's sister is driving him up there on Tuesday, January 15th, 2002. Even though she's with him, she can easily get lost too. Bad situation to tangled up in, especially if that person has an appointment at 10:45 a.m. in the morning. Michael Bernard Loggins does. Michael feared that if his teacher Francis doesn't put away Michael's top ramen noodles up in the desk drawer, that Douglas will see it and he'll liable to want to take it, and he'll happen to eat up Michael Bernard Loggins' noodles himself, and Michael Bernard Loggins would be out of luck, but he would have to go home tonight and bring back to school another pack of noodles to eat himself, so that wouldn't ever happen with that Douglas eat-up noodle story. It would be very fearful if I reached up on top shelf trying to reach for a nice thicker covered dictionary book and not ask for help from someone, and the books come off the shelf and make lots of noises, and the people gets angry at me and don't understand that I had want help but I were afraid to ask for it, and they be a jerk or a creep as Hope tells me, and people say that I'll have to pay for the shelf and I get in lots of trouble behind it, says Michael. Fear of being with a friend that you have recently met start to take you places with him and you doesn't know him all that well. You didn't know that he were going to bring you fear and lots of trouble your way. Someone you doesn't know all that well starts to carry you in the store to buy you and him something to eat and drink, and all of a sudden something very fishy starts to happen. Like, for instance, your friend that you are with could be up to trouble, and whoever with him could be heading in for trouble as well, especially if a friend of yours could be bringing you trouble by stealing a big package of Oreo cookie. People are fearful of me, which I wonder is they think I'm all that terrible, or I'm thinking that they think I'm not human at all. Because when they sit next to me, then they get back up and move away from me. I may be a stranger, but that doesn't make me a created monster or something like that. People aren't humans. They act like ignorant dogs with their tail in back of their legs, or in between their middle bodies, their legs. They don't think who's feeling they hurt at all. They just do it. No consideration for whatsoever. People don't think about how they hurt my feelings or don't give a hoot. They don't give a crap. Fear of you never known you were going to lose your mother is a very sad and scary experience you have to face and learn from, and you wonder why she has to die. I love her, and I had loved her once while she were alive, especially if she was the mother that raised you and the others through birth, and you only wish that you could have done all you can to help save her life. They're going to be a worse times and hard times for Michael Bernard Loggins and his sisters and brothers too, especially when Mother's Day comes. Afraid this is the last thing that ever occurred to me.